Where's Gina? I should wait for her.
You can ring the bell and let people know that we're going to be starting.
All right, I'm going to start. Please be seated now. Our service is about to begin. Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the South Jersey Shore, a welcoming and inclusive faith community. We kindly ask that you turn off your cell phones. Our service is open to all visitors, friends, and members. Whether you are single, partnered, or a family of any type, we welcome you. Whether you are here in the sanctuary with us, watching live online, or on demand, may our time together be one of learning and celebration. My name is Nancy Watson, and I am your worship associate this morning. I'm a member of this congregation and currently serve as the coordinator for the road cleanup. Our worship service today is led by Minister Dana Moore. When not nurturing her two beautiful children, Dana Moore is committed to being a social justice warrior through her ministry work with youth and young adults. Dana is a member of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation at Montclair and professional religious educator at Beacon Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Summit. In her daily work, Dana journeys with visionary leaders and business owners, helping them to overcome leadership challenges, building strong teams and systems for success. As a second-year seminary student at Star King School for the Ministry, one of only 2 UU theological schools across the globe, Dana is the recipient of the John Buren's and St. Lawrence scholarships. She delights in studying feminine leadership and world religion. Video of today's service will be available on our YouTube channel later today. There are a few announcements for this week. The final Circle Dinner for 2023 is scheduled for October 7th. Sign-ups will continue until September 24th. Soul Matters groups are small monthly groups connected to our worship themes with a unique practice component that helps us not just think about the themes, but live them. Each month, participants receive a theme-based packet that includes spiritual exercises, questions that encourage reflection on daily living, and recommended resources that help participants explore the themes in more depth. If you're looking for ways to grow your spirituality and get to know other people, Soul Matters groups may be for you. Sign-ups are open now. See Jess Dunn Safanoff for more information. Mark your calendars for our annual auction, which will be held on Saturday, November 18th. Think about what you can donate. Just not things, but services. Even better, donate dinners or other events. Services include babysitting, rides to and from Philadelphia Airport, tax preparation, piano or guitar lessons, and much more. See Deb Dagavarian for ideas. If you have donations for the food bank, animal shelters, or the Coalition Against Rape and Abuse, please bring them to the rear of the sanctuary after the service. Use the basket indicated. Join us next Sunday for Yvette Guillermo McKay and the Great Turning and Allies and Caring's role in creating life-sustaining communities. If you look for it, you can find evidence that our civilization is being reinvented all around. Previously accepted approaches to healthcare, business, education, agriculture, transport, communication, psychology, economics, and so many other areas are being questioned and transformed. This is the second strand of the Great Turning, and it involves a rethinking of the way we do things, as well as a creative redesign of the structures and systems that make up our society. Members of the Allies in Caring will share the different ways this nonprofit organization providing behavioral health services is participating in these emergent strands of a life-sustaining culture in South Jersey. And don't forget that after next Sunday's service will be our annual congregational picnic, which would be our first since COVID. If you'd like, bring a side dish or dessert to share. Welcome to worship.
Come into the healing rivers, rivers of grace. Come into the healing rivers, rivers of grace. Come into the healing rivers, rivers of grace. Flowing down, down, down in my soul. Love shines in the healing rivers, rivers of grace. Love shines in the healing rivers, rivers of grace. Love shines in the healing rivers, rivers of grace. Flowing down, down, down to my soul. Forgiveness flows in these rivers, rivers of grace. Forgiveness flows in these rivers, rivers of grace. Forgiveness flows in these rivers, rivers of grace. Flowing down, down, down in my soul. Come bathe in these healing rivers, rivers of grace. Come heal in this healing rivers, rivers of grace. Come flowing healing rivers of grace. Flowing down, down, down to my soul. Flowing down, down, down to my soul. Flowing down, 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 down to my soul.
Thank you, Gina. Our invocation today comes from Seth Carrier Ladd. It's called Wind, Water, Sun. Wind that whispers through the willow trees, sun that sustains us, water that washes over willing earth and weathered stones, a smile shared and savored, a child's squeal of delight as she dances in the daisies and daffodils, the quiet joy of community gathered. This is the spirit of life and love that we call forth now into this gathering. May this spirit infuse our hearts, fill our souls, and carry us forward like a wave on the ocean as we enter now into this sacred time and space. Come, let us worship together.
Our chalice lighter today is Maxine Blumenthal. Okay. Please join me in reading the chalice lighting words in our order of service. We light this chalice as a symbol of reunion. We reunite in this sanctuary to share the flow of our hearts with one another. We gather together in ritual to celebrate our fountains of joy, to hold each other through storms of grief, to guide one another through rapids of transformation, to rest together on ponds of stillness. Together, we honor the spirit of water in its many forms and its life-giving essence. Please rise now in body or spirit and sing our gathering hymn, number 1046, Shall We Gather at the River?
We're doing a special version today, and Cynthia is gracing us with this beautiful version. So she is going to play through the song once. We are going to sing the first verse, and then Cynthia is going to play us out, and you'll hear it. It's beautiful. Shall we gather at the river where bright angel feet have trod, with its crystal tide forever flowing by the throne of God? Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Gather the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God.
A book is provided in the foyer in which you are invited to write whatever joys and sorrows you have as you enter. I will now read what you have shared. September 10th, 2023. Maxine wrote, I am wearing my Susan G. Komen socks today to honor the race for the cure. Asking for good thoughts to my sister and mom going through health issues, wishing strength, flexibility, and healing for all friends and family going through challenges. Blessings, Gina. Let us share a quiet time together to reflect upon our week. During the musical interlude, you may come forward and place a pebble in the water to acknowledge a personal sorrow, joy, or sorrow.
Will you pray with me? simply take a deep breath and be present with everyone here in this, our shared home, on this, our shared earth. This is Psalm 23 for this moment. Divine and Holy One, may I remember in this tender moment that love is my guide, always shepherding me toward ways of openness and compassion. I have what I need, really, with love at my side, above me, below me, in front of me, behind me, inside every cell of me, love infused everywhere. Just when the weight of the world I inhabit threatens to drop me in place and press my hope down into the ground beneath me, love invites me to rest for a gentle while and leads the center of my soul to the still, quiet, restoring waters nearby that somehow I had not noticed. And so, love quietly sets me once again on its tender and demanding path. Even when the walls close around me and the cries of death echo through untold corners, gripping my heart with fear and sadness, I know that all will be well, that I will be well. When love whispers near to me, glints at the corner of my eye, rests with gentle spirit and persistent invitation upon my shoulders. Yes, love blesses me. Thank you, love, for blessing me. Love blesses me even as the sources and symbols of my pain look on. Love blesses me from this infinite well as I turn and notice that goodness and kindness and grace follow me everywhere I go. Everywhere I go. I live in a house of love, love that will not let me go. I live in a house of love and always will. Gracious Spirit, hold us all in this house of love that we create together. Amen. Our prayer response is meditation on breathing.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
Every week, we take up an offering during our service. It's good to remind ourselves from time to time that the offering is symbolic as well as practical. We know that it is through pledges that we build our budget and fund our yearly programs and ministries of worship and religious education, pay our staff and professional religious leaders, and finance the comfort and beauty of our building. If this is your first time visiting us today, feel free to let the basket pass, as your presence is gift enough. For those who are participating online, please visit uucsjs.org and click on the yellow donate button for ways to donate. Our offering says that the act of giving is an essential to our spiritual well-being as anything else we do here on Sunday mornings. After we take the collection for UUCSJS, the ushers will be going around again for a second collection for the Eastern Service Workers Association. This morning offering will now be given and received in the spirit of grateful fellowship.
The second one.
We will now take the collection for the Eastern Service Workers Association.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Our reading today is Be Like Water, an abolitionist relationality by Kai Amber Thompson. At the end of the reading, we will enter into a time of silent contemplation, concluded by the ringing of the bell. Be like water, my dear. Flow gentle. Be like water, my dear. Stay fluid. Be like water, my dear. Find ease. Be like water, my dear. Play. Be like water, my dear. Heal. Be like water, my dear. Find a way. Be like water, my dear. Cry, cleanse, carry on. Be like water, my dear. Find your way. Be like water, my dear.
Be like water, my dear. Cry. It's been nearly 10 years since I found myself at the water's edge on the shores of Mexico. Consumed by my own exhaustion and grief, I breathed in the sea and exhaled my own contribution of salty waters to the surf that sloshed at my feet. Be like water, she says. Kick and scream and cry. Throw tantrums, slosh and destroy. Create and give life. Be like water, my friends. Find a way through your sloshed papers. Figure out the first and next line. Forgive me and excuse me for just a moment. I so appreciate your grace. Thank you. And so it'd been nearly 10 years since I arrived at those shores, and with tears in my eyes, breathed in that sea and let go. I was grieving a child that would never be, a babe who I dreamt so vividly about, her warm brown skin and dark curly hair, in a yellow dress that paled in comparison to her smile and joy. It hurt my soul, but I was so grateful to be at the water's edge, to have made it, and finally be able to grieve. There were no ashes to spread. Her brief existence lived only in my blood and bone, in my flesh and tears. But like so many other mothers of the world, I found myself here at the water. And as I listened to the symphony of nature that surrounded me, I heard the blood pounding in the dome of my body and echoing out into song. But suddenly, there was a voice, not my own. In my mind's eye, I could see her, singing, crying out with a mother's grief. A woman far across the sea that separated us, grieving for her own child, a child she had set a sail in hopes that someone far on the other side would receive them in love, would care for them, and do the right thing. A mother, same as you and me and yours, who set her child off to a world she and they had never known. I heard the song of mothers who'd relinquished so much to these waters we share, songs of need, pleading prayers of succor and spiritual support. No matter where we were in the world or in time, we all ended up here, calling out to other mothers of this world and the next to receive, hold dear, and care for our babies. And suddenly, I was no longer grieving, but seething at the injustice that would leave a mother with no other recourse than to set her child a sail and faithfully rely on the spirit of the water to touch and inspire beings she will never know to do the right thing. But what is the right thing? And how many things must we do? How do we provide cool and clean water to those in need? How do we clear the waters of waste and war? How do we thwart the changes in climate from creating more environmental refugees like the people of Kiribati, the first indigenous people of the land of New Zealand, to experience forced migration and loss of their homes due to climate change? A people with the lowest carbon footprint across the globe, longtime stewards of land and sea. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees says of this travesty, climate change is the defining crisis of our time, and disaster displacement one of its most devastating consequences. Kate Schwetz, a Pacific researcher, goes on to say that Pacific Island states do not need to be underwater before triggering human rights obligations to protect the right to life. This injustice the waters brought my awareness to and revived the strength of my spirit. I have a home, a wonderful faith community that holds me. I have clear, clean water streaming from every faucet and spout. And so I have a duty to use these responsibly, these resources, and share them wherever possible, to share those blessings with others. When I think of the work there is to do for water justice, I can again feel overwhelmed. But it's then that I call on my ancestors, both physically and spiritually, taking my example from the tireless work that was done before me. Yes, even and especially by our Unitarian Universalist ancestors who have begun the work best they could to safeguard the futures of all, to honor mothers and fathers, parents, and caretakers across the globe. You see, in 1980, two Unitarian Universalist women, Carolyn McDade, the artist and songwriter whom we know so well, and Lucille Shuck Longview, were asked to create a worship service, a water communion. They were asked to create a worship service for the Women and Religion Continental Convocation of Unitarian Universalists. And as they shaped this service, McDade and Longview wanted to create a new ritual, one that spoke to our connectedness, to one another, to the totality of life, and to place on this planet, to our place on this planet. They included a new view, an inclusive symbol of women's spirituality and social justice. That symbol was water. They write, "Water is more than simply a metaphor. It is elemental and primary, calling forth feelings of awe and reverence, acknowledging that the ocean is considered by many to be the place from which all life on our planet came. It is the womb of life, and that amniotic waters surround each of us prenatally, we now realize was for us a new creation. We chose water as our symbol of empowerment." That November service held in East Lansing, Michigan, was called "Coming Home Like Rivers to the Sea." As its creators, McDade and Longview, enacted their ritual in the liberating space of a semicircle around a large earthenware bowl. They asked 8 different women, each coming from different and distant places, to bring water, and they did. Water from the Rio Grande, from the Assiniboine rivers, rainwater from Maryland, water from the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, and others were poured into the earthenware bowl as each bearer described its significance. As the ritual continued, water deepened the meaning for them all, just as water deepens during its long and winding journey to the sea. Water connects and unites us all. As the Disney movie Frozen has taught us recently, water holds memory. It holds the lives of our ancestors. It holds us as we live and breathe. And it ensures that we will be a part of the future of our children and their children and all of our beloveds and their descendants. McDade and Lucille asked women to bring water in a new ceremony, acknowledging our need and commitment to the earth. And friends, in that same heart, I ask that you bring your waters and your hopes and sorrows in this place, in this community, so that they may become the healing and inspiring songs of our hearts. This 1980 ritual, almost 40 years ago, more than, almost 40 years ago, has held and sustained our Unitarian Universalist communities for so long. It's been a part of our welcome back, our homecoming, inviting friends from their travels and their summers off to come back with their stories, their enriched lives, their evolved spirits, to pour and to share. Today, we are blessed to be able to call back and welcome back the members of our community who covenant and affirm with us these truths and these values that we hold. Today, we celebrate community and welcome new friends into this community and into this ritual of water. As you bring your waters to the bowl, or take vials of water from the table that are here for you, I ask you to consider what heaviness and grief you might be releasing to the waters and allowing your community to hold for you. Then I ask you to share your name and what you hope to receive by this act of giving, of grieving, of sharing your hurt. Because in total and complete balance, we now must not only give, but also receive. And it is this community that will hold you, that will help you to receive, that is happy to give, to lift you, to hold you in mourning and celebration. Bring your hearts to these waters. Share your commitment to this community, what you are willing and able to contribute in full symbiotic balance and relationship, so that we together may be in balance and in flow. Again, I invite you to share your name, what you are releasing to these waters, and what you hope to receive from your community. I will model. My name is Dana Moore. I use she, her pronouns. And to this community, I bring my grief of all those who suffer from climate change. And I hope to receive your joined affirmation and commitment to doing the right thing, to taking the right next step. Please join me. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your griefs. Thank you for sharing your hopes. I pour this water of your community ancestors, waters which for years have blessed babies, weddings, memorials, funerals, and so much more. The holy waters made holy by your sharing and your togetherness in this community. waters made holy by your commitment, by your showing up, by your perseverance, by your covenanting, your accountability, and your love. We pour these waters and mix and mingle them with the grief and celebration, with the sorrows and hopes that make us human and make this shared experience of life on this earth possible. These waters are sacred, and these waters are holy. And I invite you to bless these waters once again this year. One of the most fascinating things that I learned in my early teens was how to make holy water. And I've come to know this is how it is done in other religious spaces. All it requires is placing a bottle of water directly in the sun for 3 hours, and every hour in the Christian faith, making the sign of a cross over it. 3 times, and boom, holy water. But I find the ritual of blessing and making holy any person, place, or thing to be most reverent in our Unitarian Universalist faith, because it is the love and spirit and words of each of you that comes to this water that we are able to share with others, so they know they are human in their existence and experience of grief and joy. I invite you to raise a hand or two toward this water, so that together we may bless it. Please repeat after me. This water is sacred. This water holds the hopes of our community. This water holds the griefs of the world. May this water be a symbol of our commitment to each other, our commitment to this holy space, and our commitment to this beautiful world we share together. This water is holy. This water is sacred. Amen. That day on the shores, I needed that water, and I received the strength that I needed. In gratitude, I made a commitment, not just to the mothers, not just to myself, but to this world that sustains us all. I made a commitment to the living waters and my fellow beings that share this beautiful watery earth, knowing the storms of life will always flow in and out like the tide. I rest my faith on the promise of life and death that the water holds for each of us. And I seek her grace each time I visit those shores, any shore. And I invite you to join me, to remember this moment and this day when you made waters holy, and that you go out into the world and bless the waters so that we may all have clean, fresh water and the promise of life in its abundance. Our ancestors have gathered at the rivers of grace and waters for so long. They have gathered in peace, gathered in strength. They've gathered in sympathy. We've gathered in hope, compassion, and strength. And we gather to celebrate once again. All these things we do and have done at the waters where life is going and flowing and abundant. Shall we gather, friends, to do this work together? Can we gather? Will we gather? Yes. Will we gather to hold each other? Yes. Will we gather to take the right next step? Yes. Amen. Let us continue to gather, to make and build strong communities that may someday answer the prayers of all the mothers across the seas. May our lives continue to flow in great wonder. I invite you to consider our final hymn. I invite you to breathe and think of the waters of grace that flow through you and us together. I invite you to take these waters into your body and into your soul, where a constant river may be flowing. Our closing hymn is number 1007, There's a River Flowing in My Soul. Please rise in body or spirit.
There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind. It's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing. There's a river flowing. There's a river flowing in my soul.
All Water is One Water by Mal Hoover and Rose Eddington. They say water unites us. All water is one, shape-shifting as it goes on and on in its unending cycle. The stream we gather by unites us with all the waters of the world, for all life depends on water. That's why this common, everyday element on which our very lives depend is sacred. In our thankfulness for water, let us remember to honor, cherish, and care for it, for our own lives, for all life touched by water, and for those who come after us. Amen.
We're going to extinguish the chalice.
Today's words for extinguishing the chalice are different. Let our lives be a prayer by
that
Joel
waters
Miller.
dry souls, men's broken hearts, refuses to be terrorized, seeks this world's beauty, and carries us through its storms.
Thank you, Dana, for the beautiful ceremony. And thank you, Gina. And of course, Cynthia. We warmly welcome all of you who are visiting us today. Now let us share in a moment of silent reflection to consider today's message and the meaning it has in our lives.